Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations and Repairs. Right behind the camera here, I've got a 1966 Volkswagen Beetle. Finally bringing it in to start figuring out what to do with it. Like most vintage cars, the wiring harness is a bit of a mess on this thing. And I need to know if the engine will turn over, what the starter's bad. We need to diagnose some stuff here electrically. And so today I'm going to be checking out and showing you how to operate some of the features and functions on this. This is the Kingbolen ECT600. If you ever played with a power probe, then you're probably familiar with this type of device. The original power probe, when it came out, was really a game changer. You take your test light, you have the ability to apply voltage or ground to circuits, and if used in the right hands, it's a great tool. Well, they've gone a lot further. Nowadays, these things are multimeters. Some even offer scope functions, including this one. And a bunch of other stuff, injector tests, battery tests, and there's still the ability to use it as a activator of components. As long as you're not screwing around with computer components, you're good to go. So let me get the camera closer in, we'll unbox this, and like I said, I'm going to use this as a old school power probe type setup here. I am going to be applying voltage to the starter solenoid to see if we can bypass the rest of the ignition system on this and see if we can get this thing to crank over. So let's check it out. All right, here we are. Kingbolen Electric Circuit Toolbox, the ECT600. Circuit tester, multimeter, scope mode, injector test, battery test, and component activation. Oh man, that's awesome. All right, so one of the things I didn't like about my old school power probe is didn't have a case for it, so it's just a tangled mess of wiring everywhere. But here we go. This comes with a nice blow molded case and a user's manual, and we already are seeing that everything has its own home. I love that. Oh, I love that. Okay, very cool. So obviously, main unit here, and different probes for the tip of it that you can insert. We've got some buttons in here, and we'll have to go through those together. And then we do have, and I love this, they detach so that we don't have that huge pile of wiring that has to go with this everywhere we go. But then we do have our huge pile of wiring, so we do have the ability to run a good long, because where's the battery? We don't know on these cars. Modern cars, these batteries can be anywhere. So here's our hookups here. And it looks like we have an extension for the component activator, or the main positive here, so that's kind of cool if we want to use that. And then we have, and that's awfully nice too, is we have a couple of probes. If you take a look here, various type probes, with some flat ones, some female and male ends on these. So really nice if I need to backfeed into something without damaging it. A kit like that alone will cost you, that's cool that it comes with that. And then USB-C probably for charging or maybe even upgrades. I'm not sure on that. All right, let's take a look at the manual and we'll become sure, because I've never played with this before. All these are a little bit different. So I have I have a snap-on version of this at work. It was close to $1,000, and when it comes down to it, I usually grab the $59.99 model that I had before getting this new one here. But here's a list of what comes in this circuit toolbox: private molds, crocodile clip battery cable, 10-meter extension line, double pass extension cable, all copper, puncture probe, test probe, operating manual, and data. And then special terminal wires for the fuel injectors. All right. And I imagine it says supports 0 to 80 volts, so we can work on low, the 40 volt, low, what do they call it, like 48 volt, the GM has it. It's their early hybrid systems. I don't think they're still using that, but they had that like alternator they strapped on there that gave it a little extra oomph. Wow, so very fully documented setup here. A lot of safety precautions, obviously. You can destroy a computer system on a car real quick, fast with one of these things if you're not careful. And we get into this here where we go into our different modes. Yeah, so it even does have duty cycle and scope. That is crazy that this is a scope too. That is something I did not see coming. Awesome resistance, just how to use it as a multimeter. But like I said, for today, we're going to just be going through the simple stuff. But I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to power this thing up, and we'll look at it on the bench before I go and do that task, just to see what the operating system looks like up close here. Oh wow, check it out. Some very, very bright LEDs. That's really nice. Okay, and let me see. I'll see if I can get the camera a little closer in on that. There we go. So we have multimeter mode. We go into that, and we have voltage test, resistor test, on-off test, PN test, and frequency test. Okay, we'll go back to home. Oscilloscope. So we do have camshaft signal monitor, crankshaft signal monitor, injector signal monitor, FGR signal monitor, and can polarity test. Wow. Injector test, if we wanted to do that. Preset mode, custom mode, and signal simulation. So if we wanted to pulse one, we could even do that. This is far more sophisticated than I imagined it would be. That's pretty awesome. Activate, right? Preset mode, radiator fan, wiper, window, and sim voltage. So for us, the equivalency of a radiator fan here, if we go into that, and we can see frequency and duty cycle can be adjusted. Wow, wiper motor, window motor. So all these are changeable. And then we have battery test as well, because this thing literally does do a battery test. Then we have waveform, starter testing, charger testing, and load testing. Wow. This is actually a very, very complete tool, I'll say. And then we get into settings here, language, English, hardware test. We'll get rid of the beep and system info in case, you know, this was released 5/8 of 24, so pretty new. No need to check the software on this, but let's say 5 years down the road or something like that. If you want to check for updates, certainly can. This is really nice. Cool. All right. So light up top, like I said, and if we want to insert, you know, whatever we're going to be throwing voltage at here, so we have a real fine one we can put in there. Or if we're going to be back probing a circuit, we got that to slide into in between terminals. Really nice. That's just really cool. Okay, so we're going to be doing activate mode here, and what we want to do here is we can throw voltage either from or minus. Nice. How many amps? So to start this little car that we're going to be playing with is not a whole lot going on there, so we don't need a ton of voltage or amperage here. Nice. Okay. Well, let me go and get the Beetle up in the air. I'll move the camera around and I'll show you. Granted, it could very well be a bad starter. It doesn't seem to be making any kind of noise or anything, but that's what I'm checking for. Maybe tap on it with a hammer while applying some voltage from this. Let's do it. All right, so here I am with the old Beetle. There'll be a lot more videos on the Beetle now that it's inside. But I've got my hookup here. If you're familiar with the Beetle, the battery is in the trunk here. So I'm going to hook those up. Then I've got my extension cord here. Go ahead and unplug that. And I'll hook that one side to this. Here it is. And the other side will go to the tool, which is laying over here on the table. So give me 1 second and I will hook that up. There we go. So it is hooked up, powered up. You can see the lights on it now. So I'm just going to lay this on the ground. No, I'm going to lay it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and lift the car the rest of the way up. I'm going to have my partner here get a little closer in underneath. We'll take a look at the starter and we will apply voltage to it. I guess I'll go ahead and turn the key on. Although I don't really want it to start. I just want to know that it will start. All right, so if you're familiar with Beetles, the starter is up underneath over on this side right here. And if you're familiar with starters, the starter has an unfused line that goes directly from the battery to the positive terminal on the motor. Obviously, the unit is grounded through the engine itself, and there is a solenoid that gets its signal from the ignition switch. Now, I don't know if this signal is making it all the way from the very chewed up, mouse-ridden wiring harness up there all the way back here. But I do know that I can bypass all of that by just applying some power using the component test portion of this tool, and that's what we're going to do. All right, well, we're up underneath the car. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into the activate mode here. We'll click OK, and we're going to go into preset mode. And pressing the up arrow is going to apply voltage to that signal, and pressing the down button will do the opposite. It would apply ground. So it may be hard for you to see even with this thing in the air, but I'm going to go ahead and get this onto the peg that starts the starter solenoid, and we'll apply power to it and see if it turns over. If it does, it'll probably scare the crap out of me because I am just an inch or two away from everything that's happening. Well, let's do it. Okay, you can back it out. All right, so look at that. That's how we diagnose that the starter motor on this is either seized or just no good anymore. I think I have a starter motor laying around here, so that's not the end of the world, but you can see I set it higher. I set it at 8 amps to try one more time here off camera over current protection. So at 8 amps, it wasn't able to activate the solenoid. That's a good indication that the solenoid's no good. And while you can rebuild these starters at this point in life, it's cheaper just to buy a replacement. So there are like a million things that this tool can do. I'm only going to show you that, which is one of the best things that these circuit testers can do. But I also want to point out that it does do battery tests. I happen to have 2 batteries I'm charging up here, and I am ready to check them. So let me go ahead, get the camera closer in on this. We'll run through that, and that'll wrap up this video. All right, to test the battery, you're just going to hook the cables up like you would with any battery tester. This thing will come back to life. And we're going to move over and down to battery test. 12 volt is the system. Battery test is what we're looking for. All right, well, this is out of the car, so clearly we won't worry about that. Regular flooded lead cell acid battery, and it is 600. Press OK, and it's going to test. There we go. State of charge, 22%. Now this thing's been sitting a long time. But you can see cold cranking amps as tested is only 280, so we're not doing well out of the 600 we had. So this battery's probably had it. This actually came out of the Volkswagen bus project we got going on. That's it, my friends. I'll leave a link to where you can pick up one of these things. And if you are a pro tech, or even a, well, I don't know, honestly, pro level techs are going to use something like this almost once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on what kind of work you're doing. For the restorationist, for the home tech, for the guy that's shade tree, this is probably a little overkill. However, if you don't already own a multimeter, if you don't already own a battery tester, if you don't already own a scope, I mean, this thing covers so many different bases that if you're going to get into this level of work, you might as well go all in and get something like this, where now we have the ability to do component tests. Yes, it's still a Tesla. Yes, it's a multimeter. Yes, it's a battery tester. Yes, it's a scope. I mean, this thing covers so much that if you're just getting started and you're like, I don't know what to buy, this is probably a great investment. Till next time, my friends, take care.